Welcome to my channel, Financial Wisdom with AnaG. I'm AnaG. If this is your first time here on my channel, so glad to have you here. So another week, another video filled with financial wisdom. Last week we went over financial mistakes to avoid, but when I finished that one, I realized that there are a few other things that should have made it on that list. So here is the rest of the financial mistakes that you need to avoid. But before we get into the video, I want to remind you that I post every Thursday in English and in Spanish, so make sure you share my videos with your Spanish and English speaking friends. And if you like the information I'm putting out on my videos and think other people should hear this financial wisdom, you can help. When you hit that subscribe button, that like button, leave a comment, and stay until the end of my videos, you are letting the YouTube algorithm know
these are some good videos. You should be recommending them to other people here on YouTube. Rank them higher in search and put them in people's homepage.
Okay, without further ado, here is the 6 financial mistakes to avoid. Okay, so we might be starting off with a controversial advice, but hear me out. Before you click off this video because I offended your parenting outlook, just know I am a mother. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be saving for your kids' retirement, but I am saying that you shouldn't put that ahead of your own financial needs. If you don't have an emergency fund and aren't saving for retirement, that should be your priority. Parents want to give their kids everything they didn't have, but that can lead to unappreciative kids. Let them have to work for that scholarship. It builds character. And who is to say that your kids are even going to go to college? Not everyone is made for college. Let me take it a step further. You fund your kids through college at the expense of saving for retirement. Who is going to take care of you at 65? Are you 100% sure that your kids will return the favor? We would like to think that we are raising kids that will look out for us when we are older, but who knows what position they're going to be in, or if they will even turn out to be the type of kids that honor their mother and father like the Bible says. I know parents that have taken out the little bit of retirement money they had to help their kids out, only to have their kids be worse off. It's like when you're on an airplane. They will tell you to put your safety gear on first in case of an emergency. That's because you can't be much help to anyone else if you haven't taken care of yourself. It's okay to put your financial needs first before saving for your kids' education. I'm sure you have all heard of the Chinese proverb, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. This proverb hits home the point I'm trying to make. You want to teach your kids how to make their own money, not just be a wallet for them. Help them learn the value of money by having them work for it. Parents want their kids, well, most parents, there are some really bad parents out there, to have a better life than what they had, to be hitting the next financial level. That's our desire anyway, that they don't have to struggle with some of the things that we have to. And one of the things that most people struggle with is finances. They don't grow up being taught about finances, and then they themselves are not good with finances. The schools aren't doing a good job of teaching those core principles that can really help students excel in their financial life. They are being taught the bare minimum, how to balance a checkbook and to avoid extra fees. This is good basic stuff, but that isn't going to help them establish a strong understanding of how to handle their money. We are the ones that are primarily responsible for teaching our kids about finances. Let's break the cycle of financial ignorance. Which leads me to financial mistake number 4 to avoid: not learning yourself about finances. If you didn't get taught finances at home, don't repeat the cycle with your kids. And just because you didn't get taught it growing up, it's not an excuse. There are plenty of free resources out there for you to learn. There are channels like mine that teach you financial education and plenty of information on the internet. You can Google or YouTube anything, and I mean anything and everything on financial education. Before I started educating myself, I thought finances was this complicated, out of this world thing that I would never understand. But you know what? The more I started to read articles and watch different videos on personal finance, the more stuff started to make sense. I started to see how all aspects of financial education fit together, and I realized that this wasn't as hard as my mind had made it to be. Yes, there are a lot of areas to financial education, But just take 10 minutes every day to watch or read something related to finances. That's only 5 hours a month. YouTube things like importance of managing your finances, how to create a budget, what is Bitcoin, or anything that you feel that you don't know too much about. Better yet, I have made it easy for you. Just keep watching my channel because I'm gonna cover all these things and many more in future videos. I actually have a playlist, Financial Basics, on my channel to get you started. The reason I created this channel is to provide financial education. You have no excuses. There are too many resources for you not to get smart on finances and then turn around and teach your children. A lot of people were laid off because of COVID, and that job was their only source of income. Only having one source of income is putting all your eggs in one basket. We know that's not wise. And last year we saw how quickly everything can collapse. In just 4 months after COVID hit the US, 44 million people filed for unemployment. To put that into perspective, there were 155 million people employed in the US in 2018. That means that a little over 1/4 of the working population was left without a job. 1/4. For most of them, that was probably their only source of income. Listen, we are trying to get to the point that we don't depend on anyone or anything to take care of us. Our goal for 2021 is to establish at least 2 more sources of income this year for our family. In the personal finance world, it is recommended that you have 7 sources of income. If one of the streams of income stops, you have 6 more to fall back on while you start looking for another one. I don't want to depend on the government with their failing social security system to take care of me. I don't want to have to depend on one job to meet all my financial needs. And 2020 showed us that it's wise to have more than one source of income. So figure out how you can add another source of income. There are so many ways. I will have a video soon on ideas for other sources of income. But in the meantime, consider renting out that extra room in your house that is only holding junk, being an Uber driver in your free time, starting your own business, buying a rental property, being a virtual assistant, or getting a part-time job. There are a lot of jobs that you can get paid for doing right on your computer in your sweats. The opportunities are out there. You just have to look for them and be willing to sacrifice just a little bit of free time. A lot of people only make the minimum payment on their credit card. If this is you, this will crush your finances. I mean, I commend you for at least making the minimum payment because at least you are avoiding the late fees, but only making the minimum payment is a 100% sure way to get into even more debt. On the one hand, you are avoiding a negative impact on your payment history, which accounts for 35% of your credit score. But on the other hand, you are increasing your credit utilization ratio, which accounts for 30% of your credit score. Credit utilization is how much of your available credit you are using. If you are only making the minimum payment, you're not even covering the interest for the month that will be added to your card. Let's say you owe $8,000 on a credit card with an annual percentage rate or APR of 21%, and the monthly minimum payment is $80. We can calculate your monthly interest rate by dividing 21, your APR, by 12, since there are 12 months in the year. That means you have a 1.75% monthly interest rate. Multiply that by your balance. That means that you send in your $80 payment for the month and the credit card charges you $140 in interest for the month. You see how that math doesn't add up? If you haven't noticed, there's a minimum payment warning box on every one of your credit card statements. It shows you how long it will take you to pay off the credit card if you only send a minimum payment and how much you will pay in interest. It will shock you. It will also calculate the same information if you sent in a bigger monthly payment. So if you are only making the minimum payments and can afford to pay more, take a look at one of your credit card statements and compare how much you would save in interest if you sent in more money. I already touched briefly on this when I was talking about saving for your kids' education. The number one mistake to avoid in today's list is not saving for retirement. Start young and see that money start to add up. The government encourages us to save for retirement by providing tax incentives, probably because of the state of Social Security. If you can contribute to your 401k, you can actually lower the amount of income you have to pay taxes on, which can positively affect your take-home pay. Not only that, but if you work for an employer that will match your 401k contribution, you are leaving money out there if you don't contribute. I haven't met anyone that has told me that they want to keep working until the very end. We all want to be able to enjoy our seasoned years with no worries and with little to no responsibility. You have earned it after working for 40 plus years. But if you're expecting that Social Security check to be enough, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but your retirement might not be what you're expecting. Start saving for retirement as soon as possible by investing your money into a place that averages at least a 7% interest rate so that your money can make you more money. That completes my second list of financial mistakes to avoid. What are some financial mistakes that you would add to this list? There are some others that I thought of that didn't make it on this list or the one from last week. I might have to do a part 3 to this. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and until next week, to your finances.